It's Friday, everyone, and I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Who the hell is this guy? Well, I'm Seth. It's nice to see you again, and today I've got great news for one specific person who's about to be $2 million richer. New info on the staggering amount of cutscenes in the upcoming Baldur's Gate, and the world's most famous war-torn Game Boy has been retired from his New York home. It's the Daily Fix, and I'm itching to get out of here, so let's get right into it. If you're into Magic the Gathering or you're into the Lord of the Rings, congratulations, you're a nerd. No, I'm just kidding. Not really, but the Lord of the Rings Magic set is in the hands of players everywhere, and the One Ring card has been found. If you're not familiar with the One Ring, well, Sauron forged it to gain dominion over the free peoples of Middle-earth. But, more to the point, it's a one-off card randomly inserted into the new Magic packs. Or at least, it was until some anonymous person found it, undoubtedly freaked out for a bit, and then shipped it off to be professionally graded. It got a 9, which on the IGN rating scale is amazing, but on the PSA rating scale, it's mint. How is an uncirculated, unplayed card not a perfect 10? Well, 10s are rare in the world of grading, and there are circumstances beyond the control of the card's owner that kept it from grabbing that elusive 10 out of 10. But honestly, who cares? This lucky person, who surely isn't Gollum, unless... Yes, precious. No, it's definitely not Gollum. Anyway, card collecting company Dave and Adam's Card World initially offered $1 million for the card before upping the amount to $2 million earlier this month. If the sale goes through, it will be the most expensive Magic the Gathering card and one of the most expensive trading cards ever sold. Coming after you, Honus Wagner, you old... That's a lot of money to spend on a card that will never see a second of playtime and also has all of its text written in the corrupted form of Elvish, favored by the Dark Lord. It beats out the previous most expensive Magic card, a Black Lotus, that sold for $540,000 in March. Anyway, congrats to whoever ended up with that card and enjoy your windfall. Maybe use the money to buy a Black Lotus card. Then you'll always be known as the person who owned the 2 most valuable Magic cards. That's pretty special, I think. The entirety of The Lord of the Rings takes a long time to read through, but nowhere near as many hours as there are cutscenes in the upcoming Baldur's Gate 3. In fact, the devs even call out Lord of the Rings in their community update on Steam, saying, quote, Baldur's Gate 3 has more cinematic dialogue than 3 times all 3 of the Lord of the Rings novels combined, end quote. And it has 174 hours of cinematics. That is too many hours, I think. They brag that it's twice as long as the entirety of Game of Thrones. 174 hours is over a week straight of cinematics. Metal Gear Solid 4 has nothing on Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes to cutscenes, and honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing. That being said, you're not going to see all 174 hours in one playthrough. The reasoning behind so much cinema is simple. According to the devs, all those options will ensure, quote, everyone's adventure will be unique, end quote. Baldur's Gate 3 comes to PC on August 3rd and PS5 September 6th. That was kind of what the post hoped you'd take away, in my estimation, but really, we're all just interested in those cinematics. There's so many of them. From the gates of Baldur to the first Gulf War, I'm not strong at segues, but you know what is strong? The original Nintendo Game Boy. We did it, everybody! Segway! What is perhaps the most famous charred Game Boy of all time is no longer on display at Nintendo New York, having been sent back to Nintendo's US headquarters in Redmond, Washington. We don't have an official reason for the move, but if I had to guess, it's because everyone agreed it's time this war-torn Game Boy took a little R&R in beautiful Washington state. If you don't know the story behind this relic of the early 1990s, an American serving in the Middle East during the first Gulf War wrote a letter to Nintendo Power asking if they could possibly replace his Game Boy. The portable console was one of the only things to have survived a fire that claimed the person's personal goods, but it only just barely survived. When the charred remains of the Game Boy found their way into Nintendo's hands, they popped in a copy of Tetris and flicked the power switch, and it started right up. In terrible condition, of course, with the D-pad and A and B buttons melted to uselessness, but the start and select buttons still worked, as did the screen. Not great, but it worked. It's been on display for decades now, a proud reminder of just how rugged Nintendo consoles have been built over the years. Well, mostly. My Wii U decided to stop working forever, but that's okay! Because all those games are on Switch now anyway, except for the one I really wanted to play, Wind Waker, but whatever. At least I know I can burn my Game Boy and it will still boot up like the mil-spec piece of hardware that it is. And that's your Daily Fix for Friday. I hope you all, every single one of you, even the one being mean about my ears right now in the comments, well, I hope you have the best possible weekend. I'm Seth Macy, and if you're looking for something else to watch, I recommend you check out our review of Crash Team Rumble. For all the latest gaming news, keep it right here on IGN.